She currently instigates, organizes, and facilitates diverse gatherings to change how we interact with one another in order to create liberty, growth, and new infrastructure to support our new way of being. She joins us today to speak about how the earth is one element in the vast oneness of reality. Instead of taking things apart and analyzing them to the point of paralysis, Kris wants us to consider the whole system of which humans are a part. She asks, what does life look like if we drop the duality and experience life before and beyond? To explore this topic, please welcome the lovely Kris.
I was at this silent retreat with Saladin, and I had that opportunity to really settle into nature. But again, it's just a part of all of this, and human beings are part of the humanity, part of the nature of everything. We're part of the system too. I feel like I'm all over the place. So for me, I have to touch into what it is. So this unity is here. We're swimming in it. It's the energy we're swimming in. It's the energy that's here with us right now. And so if you can feel that energy, sometimes I use my hands because I can feel the breeze, and it's like, oh, there it is. So that unity that we swim in, and then here we are, and there's a duality because it's you and it's me. So there's this separation, and we're so used to separation in our world. And what Peter Reynolds was talking about last time was getting out of that separation and coming into unity, experiencing it, feeling it, knowing it, swimming in it, experiencing the duality of this world that we live in, that we move in, but bringing that unity through the duality to this space where we can create. That's where the creation comes from. That's what makes sense, because when we connect into the earth, when we connect into nature, when we connect into interactions with people, from that place of unity, then we can create that new world. Peter Reynolds said something about the beliefs. Our beliefs haven't moved on. I would say our consciousness has moved on, but our infrastructure has not, and that's what needs to get rebuilt. But it has to be rebuilt from this unity coming through us. That's what's different, because Einstein said you can't create, you can't change things, you can't solve things from that space of what created the problem in the first place, right? We've heard that before, but have we really thought about it, right? Because we're so used to separation. So how do we do this thing called unity? Where does it come from? Where does this new creation come from? It has to come from the reality, the experience of the unity through that duality. And that's why I want you to experience some things. So, Luann's going to lead us in this practice where she has us do an Om to kind of help us sense that unity. Because there's a point sometimes when that sense of all of us being in it together and harmonizing comes in. So,
it seems that all of life and existence is vibration. So let's, pardon?
Really loud so everybody can hear you.
Vibration. So let's start, and as you run out of air, take another breath and just keep the sound going, and then we'll play with it. So we start with try some extra notes.
It doesn't always show up. But when we pay attention, it can show up. And we can notice it and touch it. And then we have that experience here that we can then choose to follow or choose to continue in different parts of our life so that we're not just living in separation. I want to tell you a couple stories from the silent retreat and also this labyrinth that I experienced there. But I want to tell you a story or read you a poem. It's called The Centipede's Dilemma. A centipede was happy, quite, until a toad in fun said, "Pray, which leg comes after which?" Which threw her mind in such a pitch, she lay bewildered in the ditch, considering how to run. Because she was like having to think about this. And how often do we get tripped up in our life? Because we get caught in our thoughts, the stories we tell. Okay. And then sometimes, so there's another part of that, adding on to that, a Chinese story of the same centipede. The centipede became immobilized and died of starvation because it was ordered always to move first with the 78th foot. And then use its other legs in a particular numerical order. Okay, how often are we regulated into this, like, weirdness that just doesn't work anymore? Okay, so again, creation comes from really connecting into that unity space, noticing the duality, and creating from that, not from a place of separation. So, I was at this silent retreat, and they have a labyrinth there on the floor, and I was walking the labyrinth. And I started dissolving. You know, in quantum physics, how there's the wave and the particle, that duality, which is it? Is it the wave or the particle? So this body of particles started dissolving. And it was like feeling like this wave quality. It was like, kind of like you've seen people like beam me up, Scotty, you know, you become these things. That's what it felt like. It was the weirdest thing, this craziness. So am I a wave or am I a particle? You know, really. Right, Blaze? Am I a wave or a particle?
Take your choice.
Yes. Well, it only lasted like 3 seconds, and then it was the thought that came in that said, "Oh, what is this?" And then I came back to that state of particles. But at that point, it was like, oh, I want a labyrinth in my backyard. It just felt like home. That was such a beautiful experience. So I had a woman over last week who used dowsing rods, and it was Becky Kuhn. And she showed me, we found the center point of where the labyrinth was going to be in my new house, in my new backyard. Really incredibly special. It was like, wow. So we put this little pot down there, and it was that day that horrible storm, not horrible, but that powerful storm came through with all the wind and the lightning and the thunder. Okay, so we had just finished. She left. I went inside, and the rain just like downpoured, just incredible. And I bought this spinny thing for my garden, and I could never put it anywhere in my yard because it was too rocky, and so I couldn't get it into the ground. Wouldn't go in. So I was inside, and I thought, okay, I wonder if it would go in the center point, because it spins this way, and it spins this way, and it's colorful and beautiful. And at that point, the wind started, and it was spinning like it was happy. It was happy to be there. It was just beautiful. And I went inside, and I was watching this, and the trees in my backyard kind of formed a circle, and they started like just, the wind was just like spinning, and the leaves were coming down. Again, happiness. And then Thunderbird came. Remember the thunder and the lightning? It was so spectacular. So I have a Thunderbird here, and I've had this Thunderbird ring since I was in high school. It's always been with me. And Thunderbird represents power, protection, strength, sacredness. In the Native American tradition, it's seen as the most powerful of all spirits, and it waters the earth. I got 5 minutes left. But it was the most powerful experience. It was amazing. So when we pay attention to nature, when we pay attention to what's out there, what's happening all around us all the time, it's amazing what kinds of things show up. So I had 2 other experiences that I wanted to tell you. One is, I was at the same retreat. I was laying on this log, and the log was a big log, and it was halfway into the water. And I was just enjoying the sunshine and the breeze coming along, and this sense of majesty and being in nature and slowing down. And boats would come, and jet skis and so forth would come. And so the waves would come into the beach. Well, there were no boats, no jet skis, hardly any noise. And I was inquiring about nature and life, and I asked some questions. All of a sudden, the waves started coming up on the beach. And I thought, that's weird. Where did that come from? And the answer that came to me was what came from the depths. And then I said, well, what sent them? Right? Where is that origination point? Where does that come from? Where does that come from? It comes from here. It comes from the inquiry. It comes from you asking the question. It comes. So the question I have is, are you noticing? Am I noticing? How often do we miss those messages that are all around us? Sometimes from people, because people are part of nature too. Sometimes from being out by yourself. But I truly believe that part of this unity, it's really about all of us. And it's about connecting. Because we are one. But we have to experience that oneness. Otherwise, it's up here. Right? We have to start stepping into that space where we're one. Truly where we are one. One more quick story. I have a picture. So another experience at this retreat was this moth. And it was bigger than this. His wings have shrunk. Because they aren't alive anymore, they aren't on the moth anymore. So they're smaller than what I saw. But this moth was beating its wings on the cement, just beating itself up. It was just, and I wanted to help it. It was upside down and it couldn't right itself, and it kept flapping its wings and beating its wings on the cement. Excuse me. And just this helplessness came over me. I wanted to help it so it could fly away, right? And be free. But again, nature has a cycle. And it occurred to me, This moth was dying. It was at the end of its life cycle. And there wasn't a darn thing I could do about it. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't change it. I couldn't make it go away. I just had to watch. But what an experience of depth and connection with what is, with what's real. How much time do I have? None? Okay. Let me see if I can just tie this up. So what I was hoping in all of this was to give us a new way of seeing things. A new way of maybe connecting into that unity. And I know most of you, or all of you, know how to do that either in meditation or different practices, spiritual practices, of really connecting into that sense of unity and wholeness and grace and love. And part of, well, because that's what we need in our world. That's what we need to bring to our world. That's, in my opinion, in my experience, at least that's what I want to do. I want to bring that more in our awareness and our experience so that we can do that more and really have an impact on our world, because I truly believe that as we connect into that, we can make those waves from the depths move. Just with our hearts and our intention and our love and our grace and our willingness to experience with other people and nature. All right, Luann's going to lead us in one more home world really quick, just to, again, see if we can feel that experience, see if we can connect into that oneness that's real and that we need more of, that I need more of. That's home to me. It's a beautiful place. It's a tender place. It's a place of grace and harmony and joy.
So let's maybe hold it again and have something.
Or touch fingers or something.
And we'll start it out again and just continue it as the whole. Experience your individuality. There's so much of me who wants to connect. And I can just sense that and feel that. And so thanks for doing that with me. Thank you, Kris.